Hollywood is certainly a bizarre place, but the powers that be, the gatekeepers if you will, are intent on keeping it that way. They've gone as far as blacklisting certain actors if they step out of line, and even tossed loyal celebrities aside just because they felt like they didn't fit the perfect mold of Hollywood anymore. But before we get into that though, we want to give a big shout out to our newest channel called Top 10 Central Dark. This is a brand new channel where we react to scary content, so I hope you come scream with us. Plus, we have an awesome preview for you all to enjoy.
I don't know. I don't trust.
What is he looking at? What is, okay, what is that? I've never been more scared of a squirrel in my life.
It feels like my heart's gonna explode.
Welcome to Top 10 Beyond the Screen. I'm your host Johnny Rogers, and before we kick this video off, if you want to see more videos about maybe what Ellen's been up to lately, just tap that playlist in the corner of your screen. Also, if you don't want to miss another daily video from us, make sure you tap that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Now, without any further delay, let's get right into today's list, the top 10 celebrities Hollywood won't hire in 2020. In at number 10, Toby Maguire. Looks like Toby becoming Spider-Man was a terrible thing for his ego. Toby's rude behavior has even been documented in the memoir called Molly's Game, which was later then turned into a movie starring Jessica Chastain. The author Molly Bloom said that Toby actually offered her a $1,000 poker chip at a high-stakes game in 2014, but there was a little bit of a catch. She said that Maguire told her to bark like a seal, and when she refused, she said Toby told her, "I'm not kidding, what's wrong, you're too rich now? You won't bark for $1,000? Proof positive that Toby's ego definitely made him crazy. Plus, Sam Raimi told Vulture magazine that he was very unhappy with Spider-Man 3 and Toby's performance, which actually put a stop to the potential 4th film in the series. And he hasn't worked in Hollywood since. In at number 9, Taylor Lautner. Taylor has been acting since 2001, but he truly rose to prominence in Hollywood when he starred in the series called Twilight. Due to the massive success of this series, everyone truly believed that Taylor Lautner was destined to be the next big movie star. While Lautner's talent agency also did a great job of convincing Hollywood executives that he was worth more money. Although the studios began to second guess this original claim when Taylor starred in the box office mess called Abduction. He apparently demanded $5 million for the film, but when it bombed, they could no longer justify paying him any more for future projects. The failure of Abduction really spoiled 2 other movie deals that he was already in talks with. Reportedly, he was set to get $7.5 million for a movie called Stretch Armstrong and $10 million for the retelling of the biblical David and Goliath. As a result of Lautner not starring in any more big studio films and only appearing on 2 short-lived TV shows, it's safe to say that Taylor is just too expensive for Hollywood to hire anymore. In at number 8, Cameron Diaz. Believe it or not, but the last thing that Cameron Diaz did was a film called Annie back in 2014. Feels like just yesterday. Throughout the early 2000s though, Cameron was one of the highest paid actors, and from that built a very impressive resume of big Hollywood gigs. She's been in films such as Charlie's Angels, Gangs of New York, and There's Something About Mary. The interesting thing is that Cameron started acting as a complete amateur. She had no film experience prior to landing her first big role in The Mask. After that, she began taking acting lessons because she just didn't want to be known as just a model that sucked at acting. Cameron announced her retirement though from acting in March of 2018, which is another big reason why Hollywood won't hire her anymore, because she just doesn't want to do the acting gigs. In at number 7, Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis is without a doubt a GOAT in the acting world, both in appearance and acting skill. He enjoys fully embracing the character and has even gone as far as refusing to answer to his birth name while on set. The last film that Daniel did was called Phantom Thread in 2017, which was a drama about the fashion industry in 1950s London. When speaking about his decision to retire from acting after this film, Daniel said, "I didn't want to get sucked back into another project. All my life I've mouthed off about how I should stop acting, and I don't know why it was different this time, but the impulse to quit took root in me, and that became a compulsion. It was something I had to do." In number 6, Macaulay Culkin. It is a mystery as to how Macaulay has been able to maintain his sanity over the years. He's been so famous essentially for his entire life. In the 1990s, he was one of the most famous child stars around and arguably one of the most famous actors as well. Thanks to the smash hit that Home Alone was, Culkin was catapulted into a very lucrative career. Sadly, when Macaulay was 15, his parents separated, and oddly enough, his wealth was at the center of their dispute. Try to figure that one out. Increasingly becoming frustrated that his mother would try to use his $17 million in earnings to buy a new house for herself, Macaulay enlisted the help of a lawyer. He then emancipated himself from both of his parents, but his mother ended up winning custody. Apparently, Macaulay attempted to audition for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but according to him, he absolutely blew the audition. While speaking with Metro UK, he said, "I wouldn't have hired me. I'm terrible at auditioning anyway, and this was my first audition in like 8 years. It was a disaster." Yikes, well, Hollywood's not gonna hire you with that confidence. In number 5, Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman is one of the few actors that rose to fame later on in life. Gene didn't become a leading Hollywood man until he was in his 40s when he landed a starring role in The French Connection. Also my favorite breakfast. That's for the Sunset Grill fans out there. Hackman ended up winning an Academy Award for the film, and over his remaining time as an actor, he built a very impressive IMDb page. Typically, he would play that rougher, older man that shouts at people, which was essentially drawn from his own life experiences. Gene's acting career came to an end in 2004, though, with the film Welcome to Mooseport opposite Ray Romano. On July 7, 2004, Hackman gave a rare interview to Larry King where he announced that he had no future film projects lined up and believed his acting career was over. In 2008, while promoting his third novel, he confirmed that he had officially retired from acting. In her before, Mara Wilson. Due to her charming performances as a child actor in Mrs. Doubtfire and Matilda, Mara Wilson had become one of the most beloved stars in the 1990s, with Macaulay. However, according to Mara, the pressures of Hollywood began to really get to her. She felt that Hollywood had embraced a toxic, image-obsessed direction that forced a lot of child actors to retire in their teens. After she finished with Matilda, she noticed that her career had started to slow down. Mara speaks about this experience in her book called Where Am I Now? In the book, she said, "I wasn't getting any parts. Something didn't make sense, at least until I was called for a role in a pilot. I would be auditioning for The Fat Girl," which at that point she understood that Hollywood was not a great place for people with body issues, and she got out. In number 3, Terrence Howard. Back in 2008, when the Marvel Universe kicked off with the first Iron Man film, most of the cast would soon become key players in what would be a very successful franchise. Terrence Howard was the original War Machine and Tony Stark's sidekick slash babysitter. In past interviews when Terrence was first starting out, he admitted that he was kind of difficult to work with. After his starring role in the film Hustle and Flow, Howard told interviewers that the reason he isn't in the limelight is a direct result of how difficult he can be to work with. Unfortunately for Terrence, Marvel Studios is also difficult to work with, and in the early days, they started cleaning house. If anyone gave them the slightest issue, they were replaced at the next available opportunity. On top of reports coming from the set of Iron Man that he was living up to his reputation, it was also noted that director Jon Favreau wasn't exactly loving his performance. Then by the time Iron Man 2 rolled around, he would be replaced by Don Cheadle. And the saddest part about his story in particular is looking back at that first Iron Man where Terrence sees the War Machine suit and says, "Next time." Little did he know, there would never be a next time.
Next time, baby.
In at number 2, Shane Gillis. Just 4 days after joining the cast of Saturday Night Live, comedian Shane Gillis was fired from the show for old comments that he made during a podcast. A video had resurfaced that showed him using a racial slur in mid-conversation.
Damn, Chinatown's nuts.
It's crazy, dude.
It is full China, dude. It's Chinese down there.
I wonder how that started. They just built one up looking building and people were like,
This is from an episode of Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast, which is just what it's called. Shane had admitted that he is white trash and his fans love him for that persona, which is probably why this video went under the radar for so long. Now, what people don't realize was that SNL most definitely knew about this clip before they hired him because it was up on his YouTube channel for so long beforehand. It wasn't until they felt the backlash of Twitter that they decided to be virtuous and fire him for his remarks. Meanwhile, SNL has a terrible history of doing blatantly stereotypical and racist comedy sketches. They simply used Shane as a way to make them look like the moral superior and then just did away with him. As a result of this very public blacklisting from the show, it will certainly be difficult for Shane to involve himself in any big Hollywood productions. That being said, he's a stand-up comedian from New York City. I really doubt that he ever wanted anything to do with Hollywood in the first place. Last but certainly not least, in our number 1 spot, Vince Vaughn. While promoting his new movie The Dilemma, they played a trailer on Ellen to promote the movie, and in that trailer was this line.
Ladies and gentlemen, electric cars. They're totally gay. It's true. I don't mean that they're homosexual gay.
Yeah, he said that on Ellen. I mean, you gotta imagine the network executives were just sweating that aired live. For a long time, Vaughn was banned from ever even being on the show. Additionally, he found it very difficult to find his footing in Hollywood after he finished the movie Wedding Crashers. Sadly, his role in the movie The Internship also just further exposed how one-dimensional his acting abilities truly are. Don't get me wrong, he can be funny, but he needs to be surrounded by a proper supporting cast to make that happen. However, Hollywood is mainly looking out for that leading star power that can draw people without needing that added name like they did with Owen Wilson in The Internship. There's also his friendship with Trump that Hollywood is absolutely flabbergasted by. With that though, let's check out some of your comments from the video titled Top 10 Celebrities Exposed During the Pandemic Part 2. Vanessa Stegall says, nothing wrong with being a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, Johnny. I too am a fan. That's amazing. I'm so happy to see so many other Red Hot Chili Pepper fans in the comment section. Emily Walker says, you really need to add Amber Heard. Hashtag justice for Johnny Depp. Well, you're so right. Okay, I don't know how I could have possibly missed Amber Heard on that one, but hopefully we'll do a part 3 and I'll make sure to get Amber Heard in there for you. Prince Astral says, would I get a shout out if I trash talk IO? It seems to work most of the time. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. This is Top 10 Beyond the Screen, so maybe you should go try it on IO. I mean, I hope that helps. Do you think that, I mean, he got featured, so maybe you're right. You were trash talking IO, but that's also my sister channel. Don't you dare talk about my sister like that. He didn't even say anything. Sonia Tate says, I would love to watch your videos, but you talk too fast. I cannot follow. Quick tip for you, Sonia. Turn on the captions. That's rule number 1. And slow down the playback in the settings on YouTube. Hope that helps. Rosalita Vasquez says, hey Johnny, how do you keep your hair so nice? Aww, first off, thank you for the compliment. Secondly, I rarely use shampoo. And even if I do, it's like a teeny tiny little bit of shit. Maybe just once a week I use shampoo, and otherwise I just wash my hair with water because the natural oils in your hair is all you really need to keep it looking good. That and a really good barber. No conditioner? No conditioner. Just, oh. That was extra. That was really extra. And that has been the Top 10 Celebrities Hollywood Won't Hire in 2020. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to our editors for all of their hard work. If you enjoyed this video, please show us some love here by tapping that like and subscribe button. Plus, don't forget to leave us a comment down below with your thoughts on today's list. And for more videos like this one, all you gotta do is tap that playlist when it pops up. From Top 10 Beyond the Screen, my name is Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy. Tons of bloopers.
I bet he'll bark for a chip now.
Yeah, that's good. I bet he'll bark for $1,000 chip now. That would be amazing. Amazing, it's so yeah, people realize Johnny Bravo is a creep now.
Yeah, exactly.
30-year-old that lives with his parents and likes to hit on women. It's like, oh, this is a great kid show. If anyone gave them the slightest that was a struggle.